Hi, everyone. I'm Teresa Martino-Woods. I am a licensed professional counselor in New Jersey, and I also have my approved clinical supervisor certificate to supervise LACs in New Jersey. So I work with children between ages of 5 and 18 who are having behavioral and emotional difficulties. I help parents better understand and manage their child's like behavioral like oppositional defiant behaviors. And then I also work with those experiencing postpartum anxiety and depression. Basically, my real specialty is working with children and families. So I've been doing that since 2007. And I started working with couples, which has been a lot of fun. But yeah, I've been in the field. I've worked at agencies basically my whole career up until June 10th of this year. That was my last day. So that's kind of who I am. Yeah, I don't Kamisha, do you want me to add any more?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'll start with your first question. So can you tell them like where you were in your private practice and even mindset wise when you first started working with me?
Yeah, so I was one of the curious people. I had found Kamisha in a Facebook group for other therapists just starting out private practice. It wasn't something I was looking for. It was someone had posted something and I was like, oh yeah, I could use that. And Kamisha had responded and I was like, okay, great. So I was curious. I had already had a lot of the foundations for a private practice. So I had already created an LLC. I had already had an Instagram page, not that I was very active. I had already had an electronic health record. I had a few things going for me already, but I didn't know where to go from there. And I already had a Psychology Today profile. And so I had one private pay client at the time that I met Kamisha. And I was like, hey, she's offering something free, right? Let me get some more insight. And that's how we connected.
Of it. So can you tell them like what were some of your financial wins since we started working together? And pending like financial wins that are in progress.
Yeah. So financial wins. So I have been able to, in the last 2 weeks or so, I have been able to go from one client to six clients. And so I also been able to secure speaking engagements. I'm really excited about. I have been able to get clients from social media posts, from networking with other clinicians, and also just from my Psychology Today profile. I don't rely on that, like Kamisha says. I joined it because the majority of people are familiar with it. And if they're not, someone may direct them to that, but I don't rely on it for referrals. And some of the other wins that are maybe not necessarily financial, but like learning how to do social media stuff. I will always feel like I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm always a risk taker. So I just figure it out as I go. So Kamisha's training has been amazing, kind of helping me stay focused, stay organized, stay in the right mindset because I did not have a business mindset. I just wanted to help people, and that's really nice, but that's not always going to pay your bills. So just mindset was really helpful, but I increased clients, I increased networks, I increased speaking engagements.
I love this so much. So what do you feel like was the most helpful for you?
The most helpful for me, I am a visual learner. So I really liked the videos. I really like diagrams, things like that. Kamisha would share her screen and in videos, and that was helpful to me because I can go about it at my own pace. Honestly, one of the things that was most helpful for me was just the ability to be myself and just ask whatever questions I had. So Kamisha's not going to do the work for you, but she's certainly there to help you with what you want to do or what you need to do for your practice. So she was always available to me, which I appreciated. And she gets at least one update, if not more, a day from me or a question. And that's been extremely helpful, is outside of the, watching the videos and outside of your coaching sessions. That has been when I'm like, Cameisha, I got this. What do I do? Or how do I send them like a contract for the speaking engagement? What do I include in it? What do you think about this Canva design, or, whatever that is? So having her available in those moments where I just need like a quick answer and it doesn't have to be a coaching session, I would say that's probably been the most helpful to me.
I'm so excited. So, and just to give you a context, she did the course and coaching just so she could get it all at one time for that ongoing support. And when you do, and I'll tell you guys more about that tomorrow because I don't want that to be like on the forefront of your brains while we're going through the 3 days of training. But so, Teresa, for anybody that's like on the fence thinking like, okay, I think I want to work with Cameisha. I'm not really sure. I'm scared. All the mindset blocks for day 2, because that was where you guys were at in July. What would you say to them?
I would say do it. And I would say do it to invest in yourself. And for those that have, outside family that you're, significant others, kids, or whatever, but just do it for yourself. Cause I think when the mindset where I was when I met Cameisha was like, I was ready to just put myself first every single day, and I haven't looked back. So that's kind of been the drive for everything for me. And that's kind of like the fire, is challenging myself, putting myself first, and doing what I love, and learning how to do that as I continue to grow. So I would say invest in yourself. It's not something that, even if you're not necessarily at the point where you're ready to launch, or wherever you are, the information is so helpful in allowing you to organize your thoughts and really pinpoint things. So like Cameisha was really helpful in that business mindset. She was really helpful in narrowing down my niche. She was really helpful in where to go and how to target your audience. And for me, because my specialty is kids, my audience is parents. So I have to market to parents. And just being able to fine tune those things, I would say, is one of the biggest things that I got out of this. So wherever you are in your journey, it's going to be helpful no matter what. So I would say invest in yourself and take the risk. For me and for a lot of other people, it's been extremely beneficial.
So proud. And just so y'all know, anytime you invest in like a course or a coaching program for your business, it's a tax deduction. So you can write that off at the end of the year. So it's not just oh my God, I spent money. Like, you spent good money, and you need to be spending money to lower your tax liability for how much you made in sessions at the end of the year. So yes, everything that you spend for your business is a tax deduction.
Yes, I
So
made sure to pay for it with my business credit card.
yes. And even if y'all don't have one just yet, because I know some of y'all are just starting out, just keep the receipt from your purchase and give it to your tax person at the end of the year, and it's still a deduction. So when you look at it like that, it's not a loss, because you're going to get value, and I'm going to help you get your stuff done. But also from a business standpoint, yes, it is a good expense to have. And you always want to be spending money for your business because you need the deductions and you need the experience too. So
Yeah.
does anybody have questions for Teresa before we let her get back to her busy day? Don't be shy.
One of the other things I will add is that I'm a very detailed person. And I would say throughout the training that you guys are in, and also just purchasing the coaching sessions, that Cameisha will cover everything, like things that I'm not a business person. So things that like I would have never known about, and really just some of the small, intricate details where I was like, oh, wow, okay. So I feel more confident. So she covers, she's not forgetting anything. And that was really helpful to me, because I was like, there are things that I don't know about, that I don't know that I should have or that I should do. And she comes in and she's like, this is what you need. Don't forget this, da, da, da. And like, and then you can make your decisions based on that. So that was something else that was really helpful. It's because I knew that she was covering everything that I didn't know. That makes sense.
Yes, and that is literally the purpose of coaching because you don't know what you don't know, especially when you're just starting out. And I look at y'all's practices like they're mine. Like, okay, what would I need to know? Or if I know it and I know you don't know, I'm gonna tell you. And if you do know, great, but I'm gonna tell you anyway because I would want somebody to tell me, especially if it's something that's risky and you can end up in a lawsuit or ethical violations with the board. I'm gonna tell you because I genuinely care about your practices and y'all's ability to continue to practice and use your license.
Yeah.
So, anybody have questions for Teresa? Misha, you look like you got a question. I'm just throwing it out.
No, I'm trying to think if I have one. I think this is just kind of like really selling me on like, okay, yeah, I think this would be a really good investment, you know. But I don't think I have a question. I'm glad that your practice, it sounds like it's moving past where you started. Because I know that that's such a difficult stage. It's so hard.
Yes, and it's a lot of work. And obviously, Cameisha and I know, like, when she's getting messages from me every day, twice a day, it's like, oh, I'm doing this. Oh, I got this. Or I booked this. And I kept her up to date because it was a way that held me accountable as well. So everything that you guys are doing here, I've done it. So I know what it's like. But really just making sure that you commit to the work. The more work for me, the more work I've put into it and the more knowledge I've given myself, the more return I've gotten. That doesn't necessarily mean like monetary, but in a sense of like fulfillment and
Hmm.
just liking the field and being passionate about what we do. So,
That's good to hear.
yeah.
Yeah, and Teresa's at the movement stage. She still has like one more coaching session with me.
Yes.
So we haven't even we haven't even quite finished yet. But so when you get to the point where Teresa is, movement starts happening, opportunities start coming out of nowhere. You've had enough networking calls, you've been on some meetings, people are starting to get to know your name, and then your phone starts ringing. So
Yes.
the step before this was just making sure that the business entity itself is ready for this kind of growth. I know my marketing works. Like there's no question about that. But if the business isn't ready, it's going to be a disaster. And then people are going to start talking about you in a bad way.
Right.
And we don't want that. But movement is happening. So the rest of this will actually be easier for her.
Yes.
All right. Any final questions?
When did you start with your individual coaching?
So, Cameisha, you had said that around July is when you did that 3-day.
Yeah, last week in
Okay.
July, your coaching session started in August. So your first one was like the second week in August.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's first off. Thank you for getting on here and sharing your story. So I think that's amazing how much your business has grown even in this short period of time. And
Yeah.
so congratulations on that.
Thank you. And that's why I said, it's a lot of work, and a lot of the stuff I had already had without knowing that I was doing something right. Like I had the business checking account, I had the business credit card, I had the LLC. There were a few other things that like I already had prior to connecting with Cameisha. So that was something that helped me be a little more successful in where I'm at. That doesn't mean that you can't be as successful without having those things right now. But that was just kind of where I started. And the work has just been, it's nonstop. So you have to be visible in a lot of different places. I've learned about funnels and where people find you. So it's just making sure that you're visible and people can connect with you. So that's been extremely valuable because I am very much all over the place in a sense of like I'm on this group, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm here, I'm there. Like, so it's working. It's working.
And Teresa, do you have a website yet?
I do not have a website, and people will say you should or you shouldn't, or you need one, and you don't need one. But right now, I do not have a website. It's something that I would like to have. So I have my Psychology Today profile, and then I have my business Facebook page, which has been really helpful I gotten a few clients off of there because it's catered towards parents.
Perfect. So if y'all don't have a website, do not panic. Teresa does not have one
No.
either, and it is not needed to be able to get clients. You can get it
Mhm.
later. All right.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for hanging out with us. We are so proud of you. Can't wait to connect with you and see what great things you go on to do in the world.
Yes, same. Good luck, everyone.